What's going on? This is Greg with Greg Said It. Here on game day. What is week 8? I don't know what week it is at this point. Going up against UCLA at the Rose Bowl. And this is that game. We say it was that game last game. It really was that game. It was that game before that game. You know, Arizona State is supposed to be in that game where you put your mark on it. They came out with a win. Stanford was really that game that you really needed for your momentum. You know, you need a good play, but you needed a win, right? Just from a ranking standpoint, you know, I looked at the stats today with the rankings. A lot of the teams, 3-1, multiple 3-1 teams. Of course, they're not going to stay that way because pretty much they all have to play each other. Teams like the USC's and I'm not sure if UCLA is one of them, but it's a few of them, right? And I think Utah may be one. Oregon is one. And it's just, you know, them playing each other. Oregon maintained their rank. You know, I guess losing to another ranked team, them in Washington. Washington is the only undefeated team right now. And honestly, they may not stay that way. But as far as conference championships and all that, that's going to be an issue even before the loss to Stanford because of the head-to-head situations with USC and Oregon. I think USC can end up with 4 losses, regardless of what anybody else do, regardless of what CU do. It seems like their momentum in there, everything's going downhill. If I'm not mistaken, Caleb may not play the remainder of the games. I don't know. He'll have nothing to play for. From what I'm hearing, I don't know if that's rumor or true. I haven't researched it, but I do know that they got to play Oregon. And, you know, we seen what happened with the last game. I think it was Utah. So USC is probably not a factor, but Oregon is, and you have a head-to-head with them. So you can't really worry about that until you get your life together, and that's really what I see today for them to win. Because see, the way they've been playing, they have made a mediocre, average Pac-12 team seem like a guaranteed loss. You know, first it was like they can't beat the Oregons and USC's, and USC kind of didn't pan out. Nobody was checking on Washington. But now it's like they can't even beat UCLA's and the Oregon States. You know, these are challenging teams, but they're like mid-tier teams. You know, they give you a run, but you can beat them. And now they're like, you can't even beat them. You only can beat Stanfords and Cals and Arizonas, and you barely beat them. And you lost to Stanford. You know, that's how people have went back to looking at USC. First, they were looking at them like, you know, you're nothing going to be at the bottom. Then they jumped out, beat TCU, beat Nebraska. Okay, let's see what they do against USC and Oregon. And it's like, okay, they didn't do well. Then they kind of ain't really, you know, separated themselves. And now everybody's running back to the, you know, you at the bottom of the barrel, bottom of the totem pole, whatever you want to call it, of the conference. And that's not good because the respect is not there for them at this point. Nobody's respecting their skills levels that everybody was pointing out. The Horn, Weaver, you know, nobody's talking about that anymore. Nobody's respecting them no more. They kind of respect Shador. You know, he can throw the ball, but he don't have a line, so we can neutralize that. They have no respect for the offensive line, and they don't have no respect for the defensive line. And now they're starting to have no respect for the secondary, even though the secondary at one point was leading the conference in interceptions heading into the conference play. You know, but everybody still say they can't stop the run, but they haven't been losing by the run. Ironically, they've been losing by the pass. Screen passes, quick slants, going for big yardage, which means the secondary is at question because, you know, they're catching the ball in front of you, how they get behind you. You're not tackling well. You're not tackling well in the open field. You're not stopping the big plays, yards after catch, 3 people standing around, playing ring around the rosy. While the man catch the ball and he somehow still go outside of your little circle. You're not game tackling, you're not team tackling. That's simple stuff. You're there hit. What you looking for? You're looking at your other man tackle. Everybody should be hitting the man. Somebody should be stripping the ball. This is elementary, middle school, high school stuff. I don't know what they're discussing. I see all the script drills. One man, you ain't doing it. And so, therefore, they don't respect you. So, their best bet to hang with Shador, as I said, is to outscore him. And you're not going to do that. A lot of people feel like, you know, you keep him out the field by running the ball. You keep him out the field. The theory has been you just outscore him because he's going to score. and you just outscore him by your big plays. Because without the big plays, they can't outscore him, I don't think. Without, you know, catching a quick slant on the 1 yard line for a 99-yard touchdown, that right there is ridiculous. It's abnormal. It's not football. You know, they really shouldn't be able to make a run. They should have to work that field, which means they have to work that clock, which means they can't outscore you because they're going to need more time to score. But you giving up big plays, you making it like they're your offense. They don't have big play talent. You're just missing tackles. You're just blowing coverages. You're not getting touchdowns from blowing coverages and missed tackles. You're earning you all the way down the field. I saw that in the USC. It's like, in pretty much every game, Arizona State, it's like they get big plays to get their first downs and touchdowns. You have to work your way down the field. You have to go through, you know, a few conversions. You have to get a few first downs or you don't score. They don't have to. They just boom, touchdown. They didn't earn it. They didn't have to work down the field and use, you know, 8 minutes of clock to score. They're scoring in 30 seconds, throwing your defense right back on the field. Then people say your defense is bad. They just got off the field for you know, back-to-back possessions. You know, they probably had 2-3 possessions to 1. You know, and they chasing people down the field on long runs. And you know, your secondary going to be worn out. Because, again, they're not running the ball. They're running routes. And, man, I don't know if they're being taught make them poor tacklers or, you know, they're just poor tacklers. It could be a combination. It could be how they practice, thudding up, not falling through. And they're good at thudding up, but they're not good at wrapping up and taking them down. We see that from how they practice, honestly. Trying to avoid injuries or whatever. But, man, the scout team, you need to practice tackling. You know, I have my opinions on that. But at the end of the day, everything today is tied up on the adjustments that they make. It's tied up on their ability to, if people not blocking, get them out of there. They've made adjustments on defense. It didn't necessarily help them in Stanford in the second half. They got to figure out what they did the first half. I don't think, and people talk about this Stanford making adjustments. What adjustments they made? I mean, I know they put a different quarterback in, but he was in and out in the beginning. Maybe they saw the slant was there. I don't know. Because that's the only difference in the game. Is that really an adjustment? I know a slant going to work the rest of the game. I mean, you take what they give you. But the defense definitely didn't adjust to that slant. So that just doesn't make sense. They got to be to the point now where they got to play more than a half of football. Minimum 3. You got to play a whole game. Because it makes no sense to be able to put up 20, 30 plus points in a half and do that either on the second half or the first half and put yourself in a bad spot when you should be able to do that the whole game. Or at the very least, the defense just going to have to, you know, focus on making stops. I made a video a couple days ago. Some people had things to say. I'm going to reiterate. If it was one thing that Colorado have to do, everybody want to be a coach. I'm sending a car, you know, car coach. One of the first and the original car coaches. They got couch coaches, office coaches. I'm a car coach, right? But you can't deny this unless you just really just want to argue or you don't know what you're talking about. Like I've told some people. The game that they've lost, in the games they almost lost, came down to one thing, and that's penalties. Penalties have created extra possessions. It has created extra chances against, you know, the offenses that they're going against. It has created, you know, third and shorts, third and goal in the red zones, on the goal line. And, you know, it's a nice gumbo live of penalties, which is sad. You name it. Personal fouls. Too many people on the field. You know, holding from the defense. In the neutral zone. Offsides. All the things you can imagine. And all the types of personal fouls. At all the wrong times. At all the wrong times. I want to see the stats on how many third down penalties they've had. Right? You finally stop the guy and you get him automatic first down for one reason or another. Maybe it's, you know, during the play or after the play. Well, I've seen a few after the plays. Hip bumps, fights, you know. Now, you don't know what happened before. Clearly, the refs don't care. Because you ain't seeing a lot of it called in CU favor. I'll argue that. You're not seeing CU being put back in the game due to penalties. You're seeing them taken out of the game due to penalties. Now, everybody getting penalties. Well, then prove it. Prove it. How many penalties have you seen called that help CU win the game? I'll wait. Every game they won, they earned. We don't see Shador go all the way down the field and it went on penalties. It went on, oh, you know, the other team. No, it wasn't. They're not putting extra men on the field. They're not fighting the player. I mean, you know, we seen the guy body slam Shador multiple times, and then at the end, and that's the only penalty at the end of CU, and he had already, the momentum was already on his side. He had already came all the way back. You know? That's the only penalty I've seen that it remotely come close to anybody helping CU with a penalty. And not to mention all the other 100 times they person fouled that game. No targeting was called in that CSU game. All the picks, maybe one pick was called with the receiver. All them drag routes. You know, it's a lot of things that the refs are not calling. It's a lot of things. A lot of holes that you see, people's whole body trying to get to the play. And every now and then they get called. But it's never really called third and whatever on CU behalf. It's just not. And CU is giving people chances to be in the game by doing it at all the wrong times. And that's what I see. If they could just do that, they win. Period. It don't matter how bad they play, how close the game, and they win because the close games have been impacted by penalties, and the proof is in the freaking number of yards of penalties they have per game and the number of penalties they have per game. The double-digit average, and almost they got more penalties than rushing yards, penalty yards. Yeah, the line don't block. But guess what? How the line gonna block? Everybody pin back on 3rd and 15. Your options are very limited. You got a coverage sack, and if you don't take off running, I mean, what can they do? You take a sack trying to make a play on 3rd and 15, scrambling around in the backfield when 27 people blitzing. Do they need to do better with play calling? Absolutely. What are screens? What are the quick toss? What are, you know, something. Jet sweep, something. They quickly get outside of that rush, make them not pile up in the box. I don't know, but that's what's getting them. How in the world are you getting 3rd and 15 anyway? Holding. They got so many holdings. Are they all legit? I'm sure they just legit as the other teams that's holding CU. That's not getting out the calls. But holding, a lot of holdings, a lot of false starts on your linemen, false starting. Every game. Jumping. Receivers not getting lined up sometimes. On the defense, like I say, pass interference, holding. And they do that a lot in practice. So I can't say they don't do it. But those are the simple things that they can discipline themselves to do. Regardless of how the ref gonna call it. But those are things you got to get together. We know they got to block better. We know absolutely who carry the game, who can't carry the game if they're not blocking. We know that USC has these, what they call world beaters, you know, edge rushers. You know, NFL-bound edge rushers. Well, the edge rushing and what the middle look like, you see. I'm sure they know Shador can run. And if that pocket break down, he can shoot out of that. I will hope they're making adjustments on these routes. I will hope that at this point. If they're going to be rushing people, you should know what's open. Film show that, common sense show that. So I'm going to be looking forward to this game. They got to put it together. You know, one of the things that people like about this team, and everybody like, even though they don't know football, they like to see teams that can score. They can score. And the defense just got to do their part. And offense can help the defense by not putting the defense constantly at the middle of the field, on their side of the field, with their back against the wall. You're going to play the strategy game, punt the doggone ball. Don't go for 4th and 2 at the 50-yard line knowing you finna pass the ball and take a sack on your side of the field. Just go ahead and punt the ball. You know your guy can punt the ball to the 2. Play strategy. Be smart. Where are you going for 4th and 2 and 4th and this? Just go ahead and punt it. If you ain't moving the ball like that, why risk putting your defense in position and they already got the ball halfway across the field? That's the kind of stuff we're talking about. You got to play smart at this point. Shouldn't be no more overtime games. They got UCLA, Arizona, and Oregon State back-to-back at home. Probably be snowing, probably be cold. So you bring Arizona to a cold environment. Then you got to go to Washington State on a Friday night. So I feel like it's going to be at least another couple crazy late-night games coming. With, Oregon State at home. It's going to be another late-night game. It's like 10 o'clock or something. Then you have that Friday night game. You know that's late, 8-something o'clock. 10 o'clock. So you got a couple more of these crazy night games. Then they got to go to Utah. They can win if they do what they need to do. For what it's worth, don't even look down at no conference or bowl game. Just do what people come and see you do. Win. Don't want to have no watch sorry football, have something to complain about. Nobody want to watch football to complain. Unless you just adrenaline freak. I want to see some good football. That's what I'm here to see. Well, with that, y'all go ahead and like, share, subscribe. Greg said it. You know we're going to be right back at it tomorrow. Kind of recapping the game. Going to go live. We got a little motivational, inspirational Sunday coming up. So y'all make sure y'all subscribe. And I'll talk to you all soon.